what's going on, guys? It's your boy Charles back with another video for Black and Blue TV. Guys, please like, share, and subscribe to the content because I'll be coming out with new updates on the NFC East, especially my Dallas Cowboys. But tonight I'm going to talk about the Commanders briefly. Last week they played the Chiefs. They lost 24 to 14. But there are a few things that I saw that kind of scratched my head. The first thing that I saw was Carson Wentz. He played okay. I expected him to play a little bit better. He seems to be getting a little bit more comfortable with that offense. But hopefully next week I'd like to see him throw at least a touchdown. Just for comfortability purposes because he is the starter, but it doesn't seem like he's playing like the starter. Taylor Heineke, last week he was 9 of 12 for 83 yards and a touchdown. He looks a little bit better in that offense, to be honest with you. Well, that's because he has a grasp of it because he's been in it. Heineke, I think he's been given a raw deal because, I really think he should be the starter this year. With the Commanders last year, or the Washington football team, so to speak, he didn't play terrible. There are a lot of guys that were injured, on the offensive line, especially the receivers as well. So, it didn't really give him a fair shot to compete, so to say. But I think, this year they will go with Carson as a starter, even though he doesn't look like it. But, if Carson does not play well, I think Ron Rivera won't hesitate to put in, the veteran quarterback as in Taylor Heineke. You know, the team does believe in him. I think that he can make the throws. Now, he does get in trouble making errant throws, throwing interceptions and things of that nature. But, you kind of want that in a quarterback because he's willing to take chances and, willing to win the game. But I can't solely rest, the full potential of the team on the quarterback because the Commanders, they need to have a running game. Last week the running game was non-existent against the Chiefs. Averaging 3.3.5 yards a carry. That's just not going to do it in the NFL anymore. Especially with Brian Robinson, I expected him to have a better game. He had 8 carries for 31 yards, which isn't too bad. But you want to have a running back like that get at least 4 to 5 yards a carry because he is a bruising running back. He has a little shiftiness to him, and he could definitely get the job done. Now, of course, do I think that he's going to be the starter for this season? I think he will, but eventually Antonio Gibson, he's going to take that role back because Gibson is a phenomenal player. Last year he had over 1,000 yards rushing. Former wide receiver at running back, definitely making the transition well. But I kind of don't understand why he's taking second team reps. Maybe that's Ron Rivera's way of just lighting a fire under him. Because if he's supposed to be the number one back, you can't really be fumbling, especially in preseason. That's just a no-no. But, for the most part, I do think the Commanders, will do well offensively. They do have Terry McLaurin, also De'Ami Brown, second-year guy, and also the rookie Jahan Dotson. Now, I think Jahan Dotson is definitely going to be an intricate part of this team because he is a young rookie. I think he'll get a lot of looks because majority of the time defenses will be doubling McLaurin because he's that good of a receiver. And also, too, depending on the health of Logan Thomas, that's going to be as far as this team goes as well because Logan Thomas, he's a very productive tight end, but he has to stay healthy. Now, more on the defensive side I want to go into. I don't think the Commanders are a bad defensive team, but my thing is that the cornerbacks, were just getting torched last game. They were missing assignments. The one-on-one jump ball they weren't doing well at, and on top of that, a lot of poor technique. Opening your hips too much, allowing the guy to run free. When you play man coverage, you're not sticking with the guy. You're not being physical enough. Now I know that I understand that, pass interference is like sneezing on the receiver in the NFL. But, for the Commanders cornerbacks, I just like to see more assertiveness and a more aggressiveness. And it seems like it's going to be an Achilles heel for them this year, especially if they can't get a pass rush. Now, you do have Deron Payne coming back. You do have Montez Sweat, who is a monster as well. Those guys, I think, you know, with Chase Young, they can control the line of scrimmage. They can get to the quarterback. But the question is, will these Commanders corners actually play up to par? Because as the preseason unfolds, I haven't been seeing that. I've been seeing guys getting beat, especially on simple routes like simple post routes and go routes. They're losing the one-on-one battles, and you know as a defense, you can't really have that because when you have the line rushing at the quarterback and able to, pressure the quarterback, you expect the cornerbacks to make a play on the ball because majority of the times those throws are going to be rushed or arid, and you want your cornerbacks to come down with a couple of picks or deflections. And last game I didn't see that. I saw a former receiver who's now tight end and Fortson on the Chiefs. He was destroying that, and if that's how it's going to be during the regular season, I'm going to tell you the Commanders, they have a long way to go because I don't think, the answer last year was them offensively. Their offense was okay, but defensively, they gave up a lot of points. They gave up a lot of last minute drives, and also, too, like third downs crushed them last year. So hopefully this year they can right the ship and, actually get to the playoffs. But from what I'm looking at, like, I don't know. I honestly don't know. See, the Commanders are a team like this. They're a team that, on certain weeks they beat teams that they shouldn't beat, but on other weeks they lose to teams that they have no business losing to. And that definitely was their formula last year. Now, will this year be different? Who knows? With Carson Wentz hopefully riding the ship and being more comfortable in that offense because he does have a running game to rely on in Brian Robinson, Antonio Gibson, and McKissick, you know, I think he has more than enough weapons to do well. And also defensively, those corners have to come and play. They have to stop getting beat, because last year they got beat a lot. And in preseason, they're getting beat a lot. So if I'm Ron Rivera, I definitely have those, concerns about my team. But, that's why it's preseason. That's why you'll get these things fixed. And of course, coming into the last game, like I said in my previous video, these guys need to show some pride and fight for a roster spot. You know, if I was a player, I would want to play well in a preseason game, just to show what I can do and actually make this 53-man roster. But that's it, guys, for this video. Please be on the lookout for others. And do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to the content. And you guys take it easy.